It's one of the most unique racetracks on the Winston Cup Series schedule, and for the 29th race, the Winston Cup Series drivers head to the Rockingham Speedway for the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400. Just 4 races left to crown a champion in the 2003 season. The points have closed up over the last few races, and now with Brett Cira at the back of the field to start after inspection failures, can Mathis Wells, Chris Jericho, or some of the others behind catch up to Brett Cira even more and make it a dogfight for the championship into the final 3 races? Great to have you here on JRTV with all the coverage from the Rockingham Speedway for the 29th race of the season. I'm joined alongside in the booth by Trey Bardo. Trey, it's great to have you back at the racetrack for the first time in a little bit. And the last few races, you've missed some crazy moments. Brett Cira going upside down at Talladega from the points lead. We had Angel Gutierrez for AJ Foot Racing finishing inside the top 3 last race at Richmond. And here today at Rockingham, Trey, it's set to be another classic race. We have championship drivers at the front like Riley Spruitt in 3rd, Chris Jericho in 7th, Luke Rainey 8th, Keyshawn Richardson 9th, Mathis Wells in 16th, and all the way at the back of the field, Trey, the man they're trying to catch, Brett Cira, starts in 41st today. What does Brett have to be feeling once he takes the green flag, knowing he has 40 cars to try and pass to get up to the race lead?
Yeah, he's definitely not feeling the happiest right now, especially at a track like this where, it's a little bit more difficult to pass, right? I mean, everyone's worried about the inside lane and starting in a good spot, which I think he is technically starting on the inside lane, but Joe, he has everyone in front of him here, so he definitely has a big job ahead of him today, and we'll have to see what he can do with it and if he can try to minimize anything that could happen.
You mentioned the inside lane. That is a benefit Brett Cira has. While he's all the way at the back of the field, he has the bottom, but the man who's closest to him in points, Mathis Wells, is starting on the outside 16th. So if Wells can't find a way down in line quickly or doesn't get a quick yellow flag to get everyone single file, Wells could easily fall back outside the top 20, outside the top 25. Evan Hunter, 4th in points, starts right behind Mathis on the outside lane. Luke Rainey's up there in the points in 6th. He starts on the outside, so some of those championship drivers are up on the outside lane and could fall back if they can't find a way down line, but definitely Brett's biggest challenge going to be Riley Spurgeon, who enters 7th in the points, starting in 3rd. Jericho, 3rd in points, starts in 7th. Keyshawn Richardson up there in points. He starts inside the top 10 and 9th as well. And for Roush Racing, Trey, and for Ford as a whole, a really good qualifying session. Not surprising enough, Roush, they've done really well here in the past. They won this race earlier in the season. You have DeLello on pole. Jay Rayner looking for the Rockingham sweep in 2nd. Matthew Burnett, another Roush car, starts in 6th. Keyshawn Richardson, who's won here before, starts in 9th. And Jordan Stout starts in 15th. So all 5 Roush cars, Trey, start inside the top 15 here today. Fords as a whole, Riley Spurgeon in 3rd, Jude Martinelli in 4th, Luke Rainey in 8th. So they have 7 of the top 10 positions for Ford. So, Trey, at the moment, how it stands right now, you want to be driving a Ford, and especially one for Roush Racing here today.
Seems like Roush has a thing for being really on the ball and really strong at the beginning and end of seasons. They just can't find the middle of the season part. And I mean, Joe, think about it. If they were to do that, they would. I think they might be unstoppable.
Yeah, they as you mentioned, there have been times where they get out to a really big points lead. They squander that points lead and more in the middle of the season and the summer. And then at the end, where it just seems like maybe they have tracks that they're really good at the end of the season, and they kind of all come at once. They gain some of that points lead back, but they can't get all the way into it by the end of the season. Their lone driver right now with a chance of the championship is Keyshawn Richardson. We'll see if they pour all those resources into that 99 car, who starts in 9th today. Try and get him maybe laps led today, get him up front, get him as many points as possible to catch Brett Cira, who once again is at the back of the field. And for, the opposite of Roush Racing, they have the front row. They have all 5 cars starting inside the top 15. Hendrick Motorsports had a disappointing and dismal qualifying effort. Their only car in the top 10 on speed was Lathan Strickland. He failed inspection after qualifying. Brett Cira was set to start inside the top 20 after that. He failed inspection after qualifying. Their highest starting driver is Justin Zajdel, who's leaving the team at season's end in 20th place. Their other 3 cars, Trey, Keegan Thompson, who made a mistake in qualifying, starts in 39th, Lathan Strickland in 40th, and Brett Cira in 41st. And on top of that, Trey, the other 2 cars in the back 5 positions are Penske Racing Dodges. Mitchell Collins, who failed inspection in 42nd, and then Zachary Fitzwater Sr. in 38th. So the back 5 drivers, Trey, major organizations are back there.
Yeah, I don't know if they're, possibly kind of like at the point now where they're, taking money out of their R&D type sections there in the race teams and, kind of planning it for next season or what, but some of these bigger teams, like you said, they're not really falling back, but they're starting to not look like themselves.
Yeah, we'll have to see if those guys can move through the field. The Penske cars were back there on speed anyway. Mitchell Collins was one of the slowest cars in qualifying. Fitzwater didn't fail inspection. Thompson was the slowest in qualifying. And Brett Cira only had a kind of a mid-pack run in qualifying. We'll have to see, can those guys move through the field and make it a race at the front here today at Rockingham. So we'll go take a look at the track facts for the Rockingham Speedway. It's a beautiful day for racing here at the end of September in North Carolina. Sunny skies in the 70s with just a little bit of wind. It's perfect conditions as we near the fall season here in North Carolina. This is a 79-lap race. That's just over 80 miles. In the field window, they can go anywhere from about 42 laps to a little bit more than that. So watch out for that throughout the race, and the tires are going to be more than that, so they might be coming down earlier than the 42-lap mark just to get tires on sooner, do an undercut in that way. A lot of banking variance here, 22 degrees in turns 1 and 2, 25 in turns 3 and 4, and 8 on the straights. And Roush Racing has won 4 of the last 5 races here at Rockingham, including the one earlier this season with Jay Rando. The only driver not a part of Roush that's won in that string of races, Mathis Wells, this race last season, dominated from pole position, went on to win the championship at the end of the season as well. We'll see if Wells can move back through the field from 16th, or if one of those Roush cars can try and dominate here today at the Rockingham Speedway. Let's go down trackside, fire the cars up for the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400, race number 29 of 32 in the 2003 season.
Drivers, start your engines!
42 cars are rolling for a quick pace lap here at the Rockingham Speedway. Just over a mile to go until we take the green flag. Let's quickly talk about the third row. These are 2 drivers on long winless droughts. Matthew Burnett has not won since 2001. Sebastian Kuklon has not won since 2002 early on. So, Trey, they start inside the top 10 today on the third row. What could they do from that starting spot to try and get themselves back to victory lane for the first time in a while?
At this point, Joe, what do they have to lose, right? They just got to be really aggressive and pretty much force their way to the front there and do whatever they can to hold it off at this point.
Well, the pace car rounding through turns 3 and 4, about set to go to the green flag here at Rockingham. Earlier this season, we had 2 cautions here at Rockingham. It's the first time in a long time we had something like that. Will it continue on into this race at Rockingham? Will we stay clean and green for the whole way? DeLello takes the green flag from pole. We're underway for race number 29. Trey, I don't know if you saw that. They were already 3 wide. Jordan Stout made the first move into turn 1, trying to get by Anthony Hernandez. Mathis Wells went to the middle, trying to get spots. DeLello leads the first lap, but he's not going to lead for long. Riley spread too quickly to the bottom, wanting a lap led. 5 bonus points right here as he gets to the lead off turn 2, but now can he hold it down the back straightaway?
There's still a little bit of 3 wide back there, but I did see it, Joe. I tried to pretend it didn't happen, hoping they would figure it out here, but as you can see right here up front. Ooh, who smacked the wall there? Was that the 17?
Yep, Matthew Burnett hit the wall. Sarah Kirchner there backing up. There you can see Nathan Stimpton, the 42 up top. Mathis Wells is in the middle of all that in the number 20. Still 3 wide with Wells in the middle. Coming up on the bottom, Brett Cira somewhere back there trying to get further forward. Keegan Thompson's back there trying to get further forward. But Mathis Wells is slipping back. Eli Bright is slipping back in the 8. Conrad Evans back there as well. Wells still can't find the bottom. Number 20 is backing up with nowhere to go. Eli Bright jumps low in front of Angel Gutierrez, trying to get low and get some spots made back up. Mathis Wells still stuck up top. Brett Cira's middle of 3 wide for about 41st place.
Yeah, so think about it right now. Wells is struggling, but at the same time, so is Brett Cira, who is, like you said, middle of 3 wide at the very last row of the race.
Mathis Wells back to 26th as they run a drop of 10 positions so far, and still more to come. Angel Gutierrez, 3rd place last race at Richmond, down to his inside. Henry Guo, your driver, is looking low. Keegan Thompson, number 5, has 5 wins this season, but only sits 14th in the points. Wells gets down in front of Gutierrez. The 14 gets tight from that. He goes up the track, and now Mathis Wells straight can try and stay on the bottom and make spots up.
That's definitely big for him, as Brett Cira is still struggling in the back there. So we'll have to see what the 20 can do with this, as the guys in the front here are starting to kind of, string themselves out some here. We still have a couple of battles going on, especially this 24 passing the 67, who is falling from the start. He started, 2nd row?
Yeah, he started 4th place, and this man, though, he's moving forward. Matt Tuck started back in 21st. He's up to 7th, passing Chris Jericho, number 18. So Matt Tuck moving up inside the top 10. We saw the underdog story last race at Richmond with Angel Gutierrez. Maybe Matt Tuck will be the underdog story here today at Rockingham. Kugel on an aggressive move to get down in front of Luke Rainey. The 100 car that started decently today, Justin Zeidel's moved up just outside of the top 10 and could in fact move further inside the top 10, going for 11th on Chris Jericho. Then Luke Rainey in 10th place. Evan Hunter making ground up after he fell back on the start on the outside, but quickly moving up. Mathis Wells moving up for the top 20. Brett Cira making ground up. Jordan Stout moving out on Baby Ruiz. Ruiz loses 5th to Hernandez, 6th to Tuck, and now 7th to Stout. As up front for the lead, DeLello lost it to Spurlington, but now not letting him get too far away. DeLello coming right back on that number 28 car with Richardson in 3rd place, trying to get up here and join these front two.
It'll be interesting to see if this 16 decides to stay behind or, race a little and kind of use up your tires, because, Joe, we know that tires tend to be a big thing here at this racetrack.
Yep, this is a racetrack where over the long run you can lose seconds just because you have worn out your tires. So watch for that throughout the long run. We normally get them here at Rockingham. Over the long run, these guys could fall off seconds at a time, as DeLello still right on Riley Spurlington. But I believe, Trey, catching both of them is that number 99. DeLello looking low off 4. Great rotation. He'll get down to the inside to turn 1 right here. So Spurlington and DeLello, the battle for lead on lap 2. Now on lap 11, opposite way around. DeLello's trying to pass Spurlington back.
Is he going to be able to complete it coming off of turn 2 here? I think they're still side by side. Yes, they are. But the 16 should be able to dive it in there like he just did and clear him by probably a car length or 2 right there. So now the 28, what is he going to do, Joe? He's going to try to get his lead back, or is he going to kind of settle in here for a couple of laps?
Looks like he got a great run off turn 4, running a little bit higher. Got the run down the straightaway, closed back up to within a car length. But while they did that, Richardson closed in 3rd. Laura Chung in 4th is closing in. Matt Tuck moved to 5th, getting around Hernandez, who's slipping back on the outside. And Hernandez again, Trey, at Richmond, another race where he just wasn't too happy with some drivers out there, especially Angel Gutierrez leaving pit road. Gutierrez kind of bumped the back a little bit of that number 1 car in his pit stall, because the pit stalls are very narrow and short there at Richmond, and the 14 bumped the 1, and Hernandez said that's why he didn't finish as well as he could have. So he was a little bit mad at Gutierrez and basically said, like, you know what, that's whatever, just enjoy your top 3, look what you did to me. And it was kind of all about himself there, instead of kind of congratulating Gutierrez on the good run that, I mean, not only was Gutierrez already outrunning Hernandez as it was, but I mean, he was outrunning Hernandez, and Hernandez was in a much better ride than Gutierrez was.
I think he was just kind of a little upset that he wasn't really on the ball like he should have been with the ride he has. But people have those races and stuff like that happens. So you just kind of gotta shove it off and forget about it and move on to the next one here. So we'll see how the one does and if he can get back up on it.
Quick update on where the championship competitors are running the front 2 in the points. Mathis Wells just moved to 21st by Benny Lynn through turns 1 and 2. Brett Cira still stuck down in 30th place. So Cira's not made much progress through the field, while Mathis Wells is starting to just chip away at some cars that passed him early on. Keegan Thompson making quick work through the field. Remember, he was the slowest car in qualifying because of a mistake he made on his lap. He started back in 39th. He was picked up 20 spots up to 19th. Eli Bright, who lost a ton of time, started 14th, fell back to about 30th place. Eli's back up to 18th as they run, so making quick work through the field back. And Jude Martinelli is trying to hold on to some good spots, currently in the top 20. So while he started 4th, I know for Jasper Motorsports, they know that they're not really a team that could be running in 4th place. They're more just looking for top 20s and top 25s, and right now holding on to a top 20 spot. But now he got passed by Eli Bright right up to 16th. So once again, making quick work of some of these guys. Now Hunter Reed looks on Martinelli as well. The field kind of stringing out, but there's still a lot of battling happening around this 1 mile racetrack.
Yeah, at this point in the race, Joe, these guys are just trying to, feel out their car on the long run here, see what they have, start to think about, pit stops and where they can, take advantage and change some stuff up to hopefully help them in the second half of this race.
There you can see Mathis Wells looking for another spot just in front of him. That's Jude Martinelli in the 67, who's dropping back on the outside. Wells goes up the track. Matthew Burnett is looking low. Martinelli, great job to keep it out of the wall. Here comes Mitchell Collins, started back in 42nd place, and Collins is just outside the top 20 now, up to 25th, going for 24th, and then 2 cars behind him is the points leader Brett Cira. Made some ground up. Now he's up to 27th, and a few cars in front of him, including the guy who started 2nd here today, Jay Rando, back in 26th, now 25th.
Oh, Joe, look who's close together here.
Yeah, How about that?
They found each other again, and this 25 is starting to look a little scary. If you're the 20 right now, he's kind of on the mission.
Yes, he is, and he can see him just up there. Mathis Wells lost his spot to Matthew Burnett. Now Brett Cira is like, all right, listen, you're up there. You're my closest competitor in points. I can't really worry about some of those guys up there in points right now, like Riley Spurleytube or Chris Jericho. Speaking of Spurleytube, he is hunting on DeLello through turns 1 and 2, going for the lead. Just couldn't get there. Luke Rainey moves to 4th around Laura, showing the 9 kind of falling off on the long run. She's under fire from Matt Tuck, as Tuck looks for a top 5. Stout in 6th, or excuse me, 7th, with Zidell right behind in 8th. Ruiz still holding on to 9th. Hernandez around Evan Hunter. That's for 10th place, or it should be 11th place. Hunter back to 12th. How about the good run for Roberto Crown Jr.? He has the sponsor of the race on his car. Right now running well inside the top 15.
It's always nice to have the sponsor of the race and you run well at the same time. Whoa.
See
You
that
see
back
the
there?
RCR teammate back there?
Yeah.
Was that, did Evans just block the 30?
I think he did. I think he saw Atkins had a run and said, you're not going to be the one to pass me. I think Evans was looking on Thompson saying, I want to pass him, and didn't want to lose some ground. But right here, Mitchell Collins trying to move around Mathis Wells, the number 20, not doing so well at this stage in the race. Collins moves by him, and now there's no cars between the front 2 and the points. Wells and Cira are right together. Once again, Wells would be gaining 3 points as they stand, but 3 points won't cut it to try and cut into that points lead that Brett Cira currently has.
Yeah, definitely. So this 20 needs to find something that the 25 does not have, and he's got to find it quick, Joe. Because at this moment, with how fast his 25's going, he's going to pass him here in about a couple of laps.
You know who's really fast? This is number 8 car. As mentioned, he started in 14th. Now he's running there. But that does not describe the day he's had. He's passed a lot of cars because he started on the outside, dropped back outside the top 25, but has worked his way back into where he started and still has speed. He's passed all these cars, but hasn't really worn his stuff out. He's still passing cars left and right. He sees a few more in front of him. The top 10's in his sights. Eli Bright is going for it in that number 8 car.
Yeah, it's he's I feel like he has something to prove there. I don't know what it is, but recently he's just been, really trying to get good finishes here, like he's worried about. I don't know, just losing his ride maybe. I don't not saying he is, but I feel like he feels like he might be, just because with the way DEI has kind of performed this season, it's been subpar.
Well, you know what? He's worried about winning that championship because he still has a mathematical shot. He's saying, I'm close enough. I can still win this if these guys keep having misfortunes in front of me. And right now, I mean, it hasn't looked like a championship caliber season on paper. He only has 5 top 5s and only 7 top 10s. He's the only driver inside the top 10 points that doesn't have double-digit top 10s. But any top 10s he doesn't have, they've been finishes from 11th to 15th. So he's just kind of consistently put himself up into that battle for the championship, where if things go a little bit differently throughout these next few races, Eli Bright could be in a shot at the championship in a season where he really hasn't had a championship caliber season.
So it's like he's there, but he's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's doing good, but statistically, he's not doing good.
Yeah, it's a weird case for Eli Bright, but he gets another spot to 13th, and then you have, that's 12th getting by Roberto Crown Jr., and then 12th and 11th and 10th just in front, Anthony Hernandez and Baby Ruiz. There goes Hernandez, is up front for the lead again. Spurleytube this time is going to make the pass. He's going to get by DeLello right there, so these two swap the lead again. Spurleytube back by Zachary DeLello, overdrives the quarter. DeLello's coming back at him off turn 4.
And these guys are really racing each other, and the one that's going to like that the most, that 99 sitting right back there in 3rd place, Kevin Richardson. He's seeing this, and or not Kevin Richardson. Wow, I can't believe I said that. Keyshawn Richardson.
You've done that at this track before.
I think I have. You know what? I apologize.
Yeah, Keyshawn Richardson is right
That's
there. Now he's going to get
for.
to 2nd place right here as he comes off 4-0. He gets loose off the corner, and he's going to actually have to surrender that spot to Riley Spurleytube. But he's closer now. He's within half a second, but the man who's closing even more, Luke Rainey, is within a second and a half in 4th place, and Eli Bright just broke inside the top 10.
Oh, look, there he is. He's making his way too. See, this is where, we mentioned it, tires can be a thing. Some of these guys were probably saving, not really pushing it, and as other guys were, as Joe, you see it, I see it, everyone sees it. 25 has passed Mathis Wells.
That's 24th and 25th, so as it stands right now, Cira would gain points on Mathis Wells. The only problem, he's losing a lot of points to Riley Spurleytube, Keyshawn Richardson, Luke Rainey, and Eli Bright and Chris Jericho as well. So there are a lot of drivers, not just Mathis Wells, that Cira has to worry about right now, but Cira's making decent progress, and someone else who's fallen back to them is Evan Hunter. This 36 car is not fired off well. He got back down the line quickly, moved up inside the top 12, but has now gotten put to the outside and has still fallen back. This 36 not performing well right now and still dropping back for Evan Hunter. Chris Jericho closing in on Justin Zidane. He needs to close in because Eli Brent, the 8, is absolutely flying and could pass these guys once we get a pit stop and some adjustments out of the way for Eli Bright. There you can see Jericho closing on Zidell's trying to close in on Stout and Laura Chung. Matt Tuck kind of in a whirl of his own. Luke Rennie still gaining on the front 3. See right there is Richardson in his sights, and then Spurleytube, and then Zarka DeLello as well. To back to field, Gutierrez and Belladonna. There's Guo and Oskin. Oskin was actually fastest in practice. They have Davis and some of these other guys. Lathan Strickland still stuck back here in the 48 car. Currently scored in 32nd, and Mathis Wells has dropped down Trey to 30th place. Tim Gary getting around him. Wells currently scored in 30th, while Brett Cira is up in 24th. Cira gaining right now 18 points on Wells to make it a 108-point gap as they've run.
You got to think there's either something wrong with this car or it's just not handling the way Wells wants it to handle. I feel like we've watched it a couple of times. I think it's a little tight, in all honesty, and it's kind of pushing up the track, and he can't really, you can't really do much when a car is tight because you can't really diamond the corners here, and bottoms are really the preferred lane. So this 20 is definitely struggling. They got to make some big changes here on pit road whenever pit stops do come, as the 38 smacks the wall. But yeah, this 20 they got they got an uphill battle here where it should have started with nothing but downhill progress. So we'll have to see what they can do.
And it's whatever problem Wells has, it looks like Evan Hunter has, because that 36 is falling right back with Mathis Wells. You can see he's going up the racetrack. But while all this is happening at the back of the field, pit cycles are going to start here soon. The pit window's going to open, but at the front of the field, it's closing up. DeLello has the lead, Spurtube in second, but Luke Rennie's closed up onto Keyshawn Richardson, and Matt Tuck has closed up onto those two as well. So we have 5 cars within a second and a half coming to pit stops. Why is that so important, Trey? 1 lap is all Matt Tuck would need to go from a second and a half back to probably a second and a half to 2 seconds in front of everyone in front.
Isn't that a great thing about pit stops, Joe? Isn't that lovely with the track combination and pit stops and shortcutting and strategy? We love strategy.
We do love strategy, especially here at Rockingham, where 1 lap can make a major difference, and with the front 5 so close, it's going to make a major difference. Towards the back of the top 10, Chris Jericho has passed Laura Chung. Chung back to 9th, and then the clutches of Eli Bright. And the clutches of Luke Rennie's Keyshawn Richardson about for 3rd and 4th, but Richardson gets the grip into turn 1, running a little bit higher, keeps the spot. But pit window is going to soon open. 40 laps to go at the line, so they're going to cross the midway point. So once they do that, we know they can make it from there on a tank of 76 racing fuel, which means the pit window will open and guys will start clamoring to come down pit road because they want the tires on now. They don't want to stay out there in those old stuff. The cars are handling terribly right now. No one's handling good.
Well, I mean, if you look at the top 5, you could argue the 16 handling the best out of the 5 we're looking at. But yeah, no, 100%. These tires are absolutely screaming to get changed off and put away and new ones to be put on. I mean, honestly, I think the only thing screaming louder than the tires right now would be the drivers themselves.
And look at the gap the front 5 have over 6th on back. Matt Tuck has about 4 seconds, even more than that, 4.5 seconds on 6th place Jordan Stout. So these front 5 have driven away from the field, and no one has had an answer for them. It's going to be these 5 for the win, unless something happens like a caution or some miraculous pit stop strategy for some of those guys back there. But, I mean, even Eli Bright, who's been flying through the field, I just think he's too far back right now to have a shot.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, these guys right here are kind of looking, they're saying, all right, so with how well those top 5 are doing, we can do we can do 5th as our best position. So we'll have to see, what so happens. And
caution.
Of course, I mean,
Jacob
no.
Miller and Lathan Strickland have crashed. The leaders wanted to go. Now this is an interesting scenario.
The pit road's closed, isn't it?
It should be. And now, what's this going to do to strategy? As Richardson stayed out, he leads the lap for 5 points. DeLello and Sprotube have come in. They're probably not going to fall a lap down, but they're probably going to lose their track. I don't see how they can cycle out ahead of these guys.
Are they just going to go through? Oh.
No. They're taking their service. Max Davis, Oskin, Belladonna, now these guys are going to fall a lap down. They were too far back. Here comes Richardson, and Matt Tuck is up to 2nd now, and it's going to be interesting. Where do the 16, the 28 cycle out with this, and what a strange time to have a caution flag. We normally see those cautions, quick in a run, whether it be right after pit stops. It normally happens when guys are on fresh tires, not when guys are on the oldest tires possible.
Could it have, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how that would have happened, but with it being on the front stretch, I was going to say it was a pit road entry type of deal, but I don't think it was, but I don't know.
We'll have to see when we get a replay of what happened. Now what happens with the 16 and the 28. You can see these cars are going to be on the tail end of the lead lap. As I think that's the 16 to 28 racing around here as Keyshawn Richardson leaves his box. And I think he's going to leap them. Yep, look at that.
Ooh, contact between the 88 and the 67 right there. But yeah, this is
Chris Jericho to slow stop in the 18 car. He's dropped back to just a few spots in front of Brett Cira now.
This is a very strange situation here, Joe.
Mathis Wells has to be careful. Ooh. Wow. Whew.
Want to talk about a tight pit road?
Yeah, that was tight right there. 3 wide on Rockingham pit road. But look, all these now. These guys are on the tail end of the lead lap, so they're going to restart in front of the leader, Keyshawn Richardson. Stout is up to 2nd. Luke Rainey 3rd. DeLella's Bridge, we're going to come up, it looks like 4th and 5th, so they actually do lose ground, but not as much. Tuck is now 6th, and how about Eli right up to 7th? Chung is there in 8th. Hernandez has rear damage on that number 1 car. Did he get hit on pit road again?
I was going to say you would have to think a pit road thing. If that's the case, Joe, he is not. He's going to be very upset.
Yeah, and Brett Cira moved up inside the top 20 in that number 25 car. Roberto Crown Jr. heavy right side damage from knocking the wall down. So we'll go take a look what happened. Caution flag out just at the pit stops with Jacob Miller and Lathan Strickland going around off turn number 4. Well, Trey, you have a driver right here out of Lathan Strickland who's had, he's just been very frustrated with this season, hasn't gone to victory lane this season. He's been close, but he's seen his teammates go to victory lane 9 times, and right here, I think his aggression gets the worst of him. He's just going to put Jacob Miller in the wall. Nothing Miller could do there.
Yeah, I don't, Joe, he was a half a car length to a car length back. Lathan was through the 57, entering 3. He just sent it in there and then just followed him up the track the entire way. I mean, that was very, very strange. I mean, I'm sure Lathan's going to say he was tight and he couldn't keep it off the 57, but Joe, that was not the best look for the 50. And then yeah, right there, he pulled right back up in front of him.
I think that was the 57 running into him saying, "I didn't appreciate what you just did."
Yeah, that tempers, Joe. I mean, these guys have been battling each other for how long, too?
Yep.
So
basically the whole race. Lathan has not been able to make ground up.
And stuff just starts to boil over here. As you can see, the leader. That's not the lead. That is. No, it's not.
That's the leader.
Yeah, that's right, because of 16 and 28 pit. But yeah, that's tempers, Joe. Tempers at the Rock.
Yep, and not the first time we've seen tempers this season at the Rock. We'll take a look in full speed with Lathan Strickland, Jacob Miller making contact. Another view going through turns 3 and 4, and I'd referenced Hendrick cars and making people angry at Rockingham earlier this season. It was Keegan Thompson getting into the 09, spinning into turn number 1, both of them, and then when they were driving away, the 09 took a swipe at the 5. Here, once again, 48 got into the 57. Miller took a swipe and actually got the 48 here this time. As Miller drives away, they're going to be on the tail end of the lead lap with this man, Keyshawn Richardson, trying to claw his way back into the championship fight. Car number 99 leads the Pop Secret Microwave Popcorn 400 here at the Rockingham Speedway. Back here on JRTV, ready for the restart here at Rockingham with Keyshawn Richardson the leader, but a lot of cars tail end of the lead lap in front. Let's quickly get to our Gatorade audience analysis. As last week we had asked which of the final 4 races will have the biggest impact on the championship. The fans said it would be here at Rockingham with just over 50% of the vote, and with how it's gone so far, could definitely be agreeable. Wells not running all that well, Cira battling up from a poor starting spot, Jericho losing ground on pit stops, so right now it's all pointing to Rockingham being one of the biggest impacts. Trey, this week you can't really answer this one because you're kind of forced to do one of the options, but come Atlanta, if the championship is already locked up, how will you feel about the race? Will you watch it like any other one? Will you watch it but check in on other things during it? Will you check in on the race while doing other things? Or will you say, wait, there's a race today? So put in your votes, and we'll have to see if the championship is locked up. If Brett Cira keeps on this trend, what will happen? But the green flag is back out. Richardson has traffic in front of a lot of hungry drivers behind him as they take the green flag. Richardson with the lead, Stout in second, Rainey third. Then you have DeLello and Spurley 4th and 5th. They came down a lap sooner under the caution flag. They raced through 1 and 2. Now these leaders have to be careful with the traffic in front.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they do it, especially with these two damaged cars. And 99 is going to push the 48 out of the way. He's going to get up there and get out as well. 57 as well. So that's two damaged cars gone. Now, what are we going to do with these guys up here that have no damage and they're just kind of, slower on pace?
Jordan Stout saying, I want the lead. Down the back straightaway, here comes the number 6. Cira might get put high by his teammate Justin Zidell. Richardson gets down in front of Stout. Luke Rainey trying to keep third from Zachary DeLello. DeLello trying to make it around 1, 2, 3. Matt Tuck trying to hold on to a top 5 or trying to get up to a top 5. Eli Bright trying to get up there in the number 8. He has to go high. Here comes Laura Chung. Here comes Anthony Hernandez. The field squirming around. Cira gets down in front of teammate Justin Zidell. Everyone scrambling around, but Mathis Wells is losing ground. He restarts 28th, and Wells second in points down to 31st down the number 20 car.
These guys are what these cars do, they seem very jumpy.
They are. I mean, these cars are a handful. See, Riley Bridge got by teammate Luke Rainey as Lathan Strickland and Matt Tuck.
Whoa.
Strickland, remember, is a lap down, so I would hope he doesn't race these guys too aggressively, and he lets Tuck go. Tuck up the racetrack. It's been a bad restart.
Oh, he's going to do it again.
Oh, he's going to go 3 wide. Tuck has to go up the racetrack, and Strickland's a lap car. It's going to cost Matt Tuck a ton of positions.
Strickland's not making any friends today. He's not making any friends whatsoever today.
It's been common for Hendrick cars this season, Trey, to, I mean, they're not friends with each other, and they have not been friends with, other drivers as well. Eli Bright's going to put Strickland up high, saying, why'd you do that? I'm going to do it to you now. And Brett Cira is moving up. Chris Jericho just in front of him. Jericho's trying to get low. He's in 10th. Cira trying to go up as Jacob Miller, the lap car, cuts down in front of Chris Jericho. But how about Brett Cira, Trey? From 41st place, he's up now to 11th place as we're nearing 52 laps complete.
There's no lap car etiquette anymore, Joe.
No, I mean, absolutely not. We've seen lap traffic all season long play a factor, and right here, Brett Cira is playing a factor in this championship. I mean, Trey, how can you gain over 200 points in the final 4 races if the guy you're trying to catch keeps finishing inside the top 10, top 15, even after starting at the back of the field all these times?
Wreck him.
I
think that's the only solution.
But no one's been able to do that except for, Talladega. But Brett Cira moving by teammate Keegan Thompson. That's 9th place. 8th place, Chung just in front. How about the RCR cars? Give a shout out to Evans and Atkins, who didn't really start all that well, but have raced up to 6th and 7th. Chung cuts down in front of Brett Cira. Keegan Thompson chasing Gutierrez up the track. Gutierrez a lap car, gonna try and back out of it. Baby Ruiz is being aggressive. He's on the lead lap in the number 7. We have 3 Roush cars still leading the way. Jericho middle of 3 as Matt Tuck trying to regain lost ground. Ryan Wilson trying to move up as well. There are cars all over the racetrack, and still Mathis Wells at the back of this field while Brett Cira continues to move through the field in 9th place. He goes up the track. Maybe Zidell's a shot at him for 9th.
You'll have to see how teammates help each other, if they help each other. Like you said, I don't think anyone on Roush are friends with each other. So we'll have to see if the 24 helps the 25, or if he says, I guess it's a position I can have, and takes it.
Matt Tuck moving by Hendricks, Keegan Thompson. Jericho still falling back up top. There's a lot of cars to the inside of these guys as well. So Matt Tuck moves by Keegan Thompson. That's for 13th. Ryan Wilson now wants 13th. Jericho up the track. Tim Gary with them. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. started at the back. He's moving up as well. For the lead, Stout is there on Richardson as they're going to finally get by the last of these lap cars. They're going to get by Max Davis, dispose of him to the back. And now these 2 Roush cars and maybe their third one, Zachary DeLello, can focus on each other. And for these 3 Roush cars, they're ones that haven't really won much this season. Richardson just 1 win earlier this season at Texas World. Jordan Stout, winner earlier this season at Watkins Glen, and Zachary DeLello has yet to go to victory lane. These 3 right now, 1, 2, 3, and then the Robert Yates Fords are 4th and 5th, with Riley Spur to 4th, and Luke Brittany in 5th. So right now, Trey, at the front 2 teams in all Fords, 1 through 5.
That's Ford domination today, isn't it?
Yep, they qualified well, and they backed it up with the race pace as well. The highest Chevy is from Richard Childress Racing. It's Atkins and Evans, 6th and 7th. Chung in 8th is the highest Dodge. Then Brett Cira and Justin Zidell from Hendrick are right there in 9th and 10th. Jericho had fallen back to about 20th place. He's finally gotten down in line, trying to regain some ground. You can see up in front, they're still dealing with lap traffic. Belladonna way high, pounds the wall. Jericho's going to get by him quickly, but not good for Tyler Belladonna. Already lapped down and still struggling in that number 77 car.
At least it wasn't the 67 they wrecked this time.
That's true. Yeah, Jude Martinelli, who started in 4th, just having a quiet day at the back of the field right there with Mathis Wells, Currently Wells in 33rd, so it's still not good for second in points Mathis Wells, while Brett Cira is up in 9th place in the number 25 and actually hunting Laura Chung for 8th place. And then 7th and 6th aren't too far up the road either, and Luke Rennie's there, and so is Riley Bridgeton. So Brett Cira, if the car continues to come alive, maybe come on here, he could gain some ground and continue to put pressure on the guys around him in the points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for this 25, I wouldn't say he's on cruise control, but he's just kind of, doing his thing here and racing the car around the track, and it seems like all the other cars are just kind of coming to him, and he's making it work. So, like you said, Joe, this 25 this season is absolutely on something else, and it's going to be hard to beat him if he continues this for the final couple of races.
And he hasn't always been the best car. I know he has 4 wins this season, but a lot of races he's just kind of had a 15th place car. But when he has the 15th place car, he finishes 15th. He doesn't finish in 22nd or 23rd. Here today at Rockingham, he started back at 41st, but he's methodically worked his way up to now 8th place on the racetrack. And I mean, it's hard to beat drivers in the championship when they keep on doing stuff like that. Luke Rennie, I think he's getting fed up with Smed Oskin. Oskin kind of holding up Luke, has pushed him back to the Richard Childress cars of Atkins and Evans. Atkins goes high, Evans wants 6th, and this is just bringing Brett Cira up for even more spots in front of him. So it looks like Luke Rennie finally gets around to Matt Oskin. Evans going to get by Atkins and Oskin. Atkins going to get by Oskin, but might have Brett Cira to his inside on corner exit. So close off 4. Brett Cira has to back out, or else he runs into the 30 car and gets damage.
That was a little too close for comfort there for this late in the race.
Yes, especially when you're not having to push for anything right now. You're gaining points on everyone but Richardson and Riley Bridgeman. Even those guys, they're not gaining much on you here today. Cira settles in 8th place behind Atkins. This man wants a top 5, wants to break up the Ford 1 through 5. Conrad Evans moving low on Luke Rennie down to turn 1. That's for 5th place. Luke trying to hold it through 1 and 2, and so far will, while Brett Cira looks on Justin Atkins behind them. Here comes Bibi Ruiz on Eli Bright behind them. That's for 11th place, with Idell in 10th, just in front of them. Back up to the front, Richardson pulled away from Stout just a little bit. They have 13 laps to go. Richardson still leads this race with Stout in 2nd. Is Stout right now, Trey, saving his stuff, or is that car just not good enough to catch the number 99?
It's hard to tell at this point. I mean, we've said it with these Roush cars, once they're out front, they're hard to pass in general, but I mean, the 6 definitely could be saving his stuff there just to, possibly make a late race push, but at this point, I mean, it really is hard to tell. We probably won't see anything till, maybe lap 75 or so.
Well, Luke Rennie gets forced high. Brett Cira's by him. That's another driver near Cira in the points that has fallen behind him so far today. Cira up to 7th, Rennie back down to 9th. So Cira again continuing his charge of terror through the field, just picking off championship contenders one by one, and basically at this point just kind of they're kind of calling mercy. They're like, please just put us out of our misery, because every time they think they have him, Trey, they don't have anything for the 25.
Yeah, Joe, this is, I mean, I know there's races left in it, but so far this is probably one of the most dominant seasons we've seen out of a driver in I don't know how many years now.
It's been a little bit since we've seen something like this, where one driver just has a stranglehold on the championship points. They won't let anyone else have a shot at it, as Cira is up to 7th. Right now, the only drivers near him in points that would gain points are Riley Spraytube in 4th and Keyshawn Richardson in the race lead. But Spraytube entered 7th in points, Richardson entered 5th in points. So the 3 guys behind Cira. Wells, who entered 2nd in points, is down in 27th. He's gained spots as of late, but hasn't gained too much. And then 3rd in points, Chris Jericho is down in 17th. 4th in points, Evan Hunter is 23rd. So the 3 drivers closest to Cira in terms of the championship points lead are down outside the top 15, and Cira's up inside the top 10. It's going to be hard for those drivers to continue to try and close in when Cira has days like this. 8 laps to go at the line for Keyshawn Richardson. Jordan Stout not really closing in. He's losing a little bit here and there. DeLello's falling back. Riley Spiritu is way back in behind lap traffic. This is the closest battle right now for 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's 3 Chevys and a Dodge in this, with Luke Rennie in 9th, Zidell in 10th, Ruiz 11th, Bright 12th, and Kukulon 13th. That's a great battle as well for 9th through 13th place. Fitzwater's moved up really well from the back of the field. He's up to 14th. Tim Gary's 15th, and Chris Jericho in 16th. Now he's got by some cars, and has Tim Gary for 15th in his sights, but once again, he'd be losing points if it stood like this in these final few laps.
Yeah, definitely, and it's like you said, it's hard to beat someone when they're ahead of you. I think the only one that is probably going to be gaining on them is that 28
and the 99.
Oh, and the 99, right,
Yep.
right.
But other than that, everyone else is losing, and they're not just losing like a spot or two. They're losing multiple spots worth of points. Cira gets another spot. Evans went high from 5th. Atkins moved to 5th. Cira is to 6th, with coming around to 5 laps to go. Another few points gained for the 25 driver.
It is, yeah. I mean, if you're the 25, you're ecstatic. I mean, this is a great day for you. You started second to last?
Yep,
last.
41st
Second
place.
to last. Yeah, and then you're gonna finish inside the top 10, well inside the top 10, possibly even the top 5 here. So, I don't know if you're anyone else how you find confidence in that, or how you find any sort of motivation saying, hey, we still have a shot at this, but it's insane. I mean, I know we're talking about it like it's over with still a handful of races left in it, but I mean, it's just hard to think against it, right?
He's making it hard for the other drivers to have confidence in themselves, right? Because this is a day where Brett Cira should have lost a lot of points. You don't gain all these spots at Rockingham, right? This is a track where very hard to pass. He started back in the last row. Now he's up inside the top 10, battling for a top 5. That takes a lot of confidence out of the other drivers. Even, someone like Keyshawn Richardson, Riley Sprotube. Hey, we finished inside the top 5. That's great. Where did the 25 finish? And the crew chief has to come over the radio and say, he got a top 10.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just it hurts. But for this 25, whoa!
Oh, they go. Oh, our car's coming down pit road.
Wow.
Richardson pitted and Stout.
What? I thought they were good.
They should have been good. Why were they not? Maybe the caution flag laps. Once again, we've seen over the past year, they have enough fuel if their tires wear off, but their tires weren't wearing off. Zachary DeLello has the lead, but can he make it around to the white flag under power? If he does, it could be his first win of the season. DeLello comes off 4. Sprotube is under power. Cira's still under power. There's the white flag, but who's had to come down? Chris Jericho's in there in the 18 car. Did Mathis Wells gain some spots? Cira was able to stay out, it looked like, but DeLello's on the final lap, and the number 16 might just cruise home to victory lane after looking like he was going to finish in 3rd place. Down into turns 3 and 4.
I'm so confused right now.
I'm up there with you. Zachary DeLello takes the checkered flag at Rockingham. It's a Roush sweep at Rockingham this season. Sprotube comes home 2nd. And it looks like Brett Cira stayed out there in the 25.
So what's the finishing order now? Is everything all mixed up? I don't understand.
Everything. I mean, I'd look at the screens, Trey, but I just don't know where to start with them.
Good thing we don't do this, because NASCAR's going to have a fun time figuring out what people finished.
Well,
the 16.
Yeah, we know he won.
That's about it, though, right?
Yeah, we know he won. Sprotube got 2nd. Chung got 3rd, and it looks like Cira got 4th. Other than that, every other finish results are unofficial. And on a day where Richardson looked like he was getting a lot of points, he loses points, and the only driver to gain on the points leader is Riley Sprotube, but he only gains 10 points on him. Or excuse me, he'll gain 15 because he led some laps early on. But this man DeLello, he's not in that championship fight, but it's so great to see him back to victory lane. He's had a struggling season, barely inside the top 28 points, but he notches his first win of the season for Roush Racing here today at Rockingham. That's now 5 of the last 6 Rockingham races Roush Racing has won. It ends up with the 16 on top. DeLello to victory lane with Riley Sprotube in 2nd, Laura Chung in 3rd. Brett Cira, the points leader, comes from 41st to 4th, and a top 5 for Baby Ruiz for Melling Ultra Motorsports. Sebastian Kukulon ends up in 6th. Tim Gary up to 7th. Luke Rainey in 8th. Hernandez in 9th. Matthew Burnett completes the top 10. We only had 13 cars finish on the lead lap. Benny Lynn, Hunter Reed, and Mitchell Collins, the last of them. And then cars either ran short on fuel or just were already lapped down but had the fuel to make it. How about Evans? He ends up in 14th. But how about these guys? Max Davis, Henry Guo, 15th and 16th. They were lapped down, but they had the fuel to make it, so they finished ahead of those guys. Richardson, from what looked like a sure victory, 17th place. Stout, a sure 2nd place in 18th. Lathan Strickland gained spots up to a top 20. And then down here, Eli Bright, Chris Jericho, 21st and 22nd. And where was Mathis Wells? 729th. Mathis Wells ends up in 37th place. 33 spots between he and Brett Cira. And right now at the moment, this championship battle is as bad as it was looking for people, it looks even worse now because Brett Cira made it on fuel and basically everyone else couldn't. So as we look at the points, Brett Cira's points, they went from big to even bigger now in those last few laps. Brett Cira, he saved the field to make it. How they didn't have the field to make it, I don't know. We've seen in the past at Rockingham where cautions come out, people put on fresh tires, and then with those fresh tires, they take laps off, the tires don't wear as much, so then the speeds don't come down as much, and that ends up being short on fuel. But, man, that's got to be heartbreaking for some of those drivers, especially Richardson and Stout Track.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate. I wasn't ready for that. I'll be honest, Joe. I was not expecting late pit stops like that, and how much it shakes it up.
Yeah, that was completely out of the blue, and it shook everything up. We only had 13 cars finish on the lead lap. There were some cars that were a lap down that ended up inside the top 20 because they had the field to make it, and all the stuff like that. But it ends up with DeLello on top. That's a great win for him. But the next race out on JRTV, race number 30 of the season, just 3 races left. We'll go racing at the Homestead Miami Speedway for the Ford 400. And for these championship drivers that are trying to fight to Brett Cira, it's gotten a lot harder now, as Wells lost a lot of points, and everyone but Riley Spirito lost points. Spirito only gains 15 on Brett Cira. So Trey, the points once again, Cira I think is up now over a race on everyone. Just 3 races to go. It's going to be hard to catch that number 25. We'll see how Homestead goes on JRTV next week. Today it's all about Zachary DeLello, though. He wins his first of the season. He becomes the 15th different driver to win this season at the Rockingham Speedway. For Trey Bardo, I'm Joe Rakowski. So long from Rockingham, but tune into JRTV next week for the Homestead Miami Speedway race number 30 of the season.